like this. I had no idea. This looks really cool. Alright, here's what I wanted to talk about though. Hold on. I'll tell you what I wanted to talk about. Have you ever heard this song, by the way? You ever heard this? I'll get to the point in a minute. I just want to know if you've heard this. This is from the 13th step. Alright. I'm waiting for the good part of the song, but then I want to go over something. I do. Sorry, this video is going to be kind of dumb, but I do want to go over something very important. Here's a great song. Alright, look. Here's what we want to talk about. Because the thing is, I'm not going to put this up on a YouTube or anything. I mean, on the Facebook. But whatever. I want to make a video about it. And this is the thing, because I want to talk about psychic attack. Because I'm saying all this shit about, oh, I had to get out of psychiatry. And like, fine. So what's the what's the rationale there? I mean, okay, fine. My own intuitive feeling about it. What it was doing to me. Fine. Does anyone have anything else to say about it? And the thing is, for people like me, follow people like Dion Fortune. And I did find my notes on Dion Fortune, which my notes are scattered in like 20 different places because the flood took my shit in 2006, and then all my shit got stolen by what's his name, by Gerard down in New Orleans again, and then whatever. Now I got this computer because whatever, I bought a used computer. But I finally found the disc and put the disc in and said, oh shit, here's my notes about Dion Fortune. And here's the point about people like me and what they think. Because it's like, whatever, I haven't had an original thought in a long time. The point is like this. Dion Fortune talked about what she called the unsuspected prevalence of psychic attacks, secret science. And you know, Stanley Kubrick made a number of movies that are really interesting if you like Stanley Kubrick. That is to say, he did pick up an obscure Burgess novel, A Clockwork Orange, turned into a film that everyone fucking loves. Except almost none of them can tell you what A Clockwork Orange is. And the problem with that is because a lot of them are Clockwork Oranges. A clockwork orange, meaning mechanical orange. That's something that looks like juicy and normal and nice, natural on the outside, but it's actually, it's mechanical. It's poisoned by all kinds of mechanisms and mechanical reactions, and it's not real. It's a clockwork orange. Because of the Ludovico technique that is going to make you good and make you not violent. And what happens at the end when he's cured? They show him the picture of the eggs and they say, what would you like to do? And he said, I'd smash them. I'd smash them. And they say, you're cured. There's a lesson. It's a fable. He also made a movie called Eyes Wide Shut, which is a lot of like where I grew up was like Eyes Wide Shut. And that psychiatrist that was stalking me and for years, and later finally was revealed to be what I always thought he was, which was an occult freak. And we can talk about that. But anyway, that's Stanley Kubrick. But here's the point. Dion Fortune had her health, she said, shattered by psychic attack, and during this healing journey she was introduced to the study of what she believed to be the source of coercion, the source of the problem, that is what she called occult pathology and criminality. And what she discovers is that psychic attack is far more common than anyone realized, that the methods of psychic attack were often rediscovered by dumb scientific psychologists without ever realizing, or them realizing, the modus operandi, which was occult. And this, you know, those who've experienced the increasing need to look at oneself in a mirror, which is gone on for years and years, and people talk about it, but it's suppressed. What is this need to look at yourself in the mirror, which is clearly not for vanity, because, being, a person who is not particularly vain or may not be particularly into, things like that is bizarrely preoccupied with looking in the mirror. They wrote a book about it called Stuck in the Mirror. That is the subconscious survival mechanism in those whose psychiatry is fragmenting their sense of themselves and who are constantly looking in the mirror but don't know why, because the soul or whatever the original person is becoming concerned. Is becoming concerned about the effects which the conscious mind is barely aware of because they are virtually hypnotized out of this basic critical thought, which any teenager or 12-year-old like would be capable of. That is to say, this to be suspicious of the psychiatric profession, which apparently is beyond question for people who are undergoing this kind of thing. They no longer question it, and the abuses that anyone would take who dares suspect it of harming anybody, even though we're living in a time when, you know, you can say, like, I think the priests are raping, like, little boys, and people are like, I bet they are, man. Like, you can't trust anybody these days. But to question the psychiatrist, you know, is to be an idiot or a scumbag or unenlightened. Meanwhile, you know, the ugly and dumb are trapped in the mirror like they're fucking Marilyn Monroe. Don't know why, one might ask, except that it goes on in private, and the critical faculty is disabled by psychic attack. Only the deepest self is trying to figure out what's going on, continuously looking in the mirror, although the voice of this authentic self is drowned out under these pills that no one knows what they do or how they work, as though that should, you know, the doctor's saying, and no one knows why these work. No one knows. It's a compound, we don't know why it works, like as if that's legitimate. But people believe it, and, you know, people of a basic intelligence, like who are smart as, say, like a smart chimp who can do sign language, you know, would find some of these answers suspicious. But suspicion of the motives of the psychiatric professionals is deemed paranoia. That is to say, like, it's on par with thinking there are microchips under your arm, or like that there's cameras from the fucking, like, government CIA, like, you know, following you. That's like if you say, like, I'm suspicious of the psychiatrist might be harming me, that's deemed paranoia. And, you know, that you should question this odd interrogation that feels very bad, that never ends, and so on and so forth, that you can't get out of. It's a lifelong process. You know, the critic says the Scientologist because you signed up for life. Meanwhile, I'm under the impression that the psychiatry, that you sign up for life, they don't tell you that till it's well underway, and you're already like, oh yeah? Oh, that sounds alright with me, man. They said this, anyway, but what's the point? The unfortunate look at this issue of psychic attack, and that it's very real, and that it disables the critical faculties. And for anyone who has had to get out of this psychiatry, who were as nice as they could be, and tried to assume, and then found out when they tried to get out of it, the lengths that the people would go to keep them in it, were at that point things that you couldn't tell anyone, because you knew yourself it would sound delusional to tell someone. Like, no one would believe what they've done when I tried to get out of this. And even if you say, well, geez, you know, I keep trying to get out of it, but, you know, something is stopping me, like, that is to say, you don't even tell them what has happened, because you know no one will believe it, but you just say, I'm having trouble getting out. People say you're paranoid. Okay, you're a fucking right-wing nut, and you think there are microchips under your arm. Meanwhile, they were, like, carving their arms up and, like, such and such. But no, this is the treatment. It's the love ego treatment. It makes you not violent. And I say if your life is threatened, you should be violent. I think you have a right to violate the law, and I think you have a right to become violent if you think your life is being threatened. And that is part of this occult attack, is to say, like, that your values are such that you no longer think that violence in the service of your own life are reasonable, that you'll rather kill yourself than, you know, stand up. And if you stand up, it's called psychotic. And my answer to that, when they tried to pin that one on me, was hell yeah. Hell yeah. I really will kill anybody who tries to do that to me. And I can say that now safely on the tube, because I say it with a lot of love. But, you know, because look, everyone's talking, you know, like what's his name says, everyone's talking about their depression, everyone's talking about breakdown. And, you know, like what's his name says, listen, hard to hear, but what if your depression, what if you break it down? What if all this that's going on, this suffering, is the closest you've ever been to true selfhood, but everything that you're surrounded by in this mind control is telling you it's not, that you need medication, that you need to go to the hospital, that you need to do this, that you should give up your life, that what you're actually experiencing is the closest you've ever been to true selfhood, and you just need the moral courage to say, no, I don't want help with this. I want to sit and find out why I'm so depressed, trying to live a normal life in an abnormal world. Because it's a very risky thing, and the gate's very narrow to become a self, you know. So anyway, I didn't make that up. I haven't had an original thought in years. But the truth is, I saved my life, and I'm here having fun with the red light, and, you know, trying to spread this wisdom. But the thing is, you know, people don't like me, not anymore. They liked me a lot when I was a psychopath. But when I tried to finally clean up my act and become a spiritual person, then I found people didn't like me too much. They thought I was pretty cool when I was talking a lot of shit and was a dick. And they thought I was just a great guy. And when I tried to grow a heart and like got a deposit of a soul and tried to decide to be a good person, that's when people started telling me I was a right-wing nut job. So, okay. But we'll talk more about the unfortunate, and we'll play more with the red light. And we'll play more music. Long live the revolution. Alright. Bye, kids. We will be back.